Welcome to the NCDWI Guide podcast, where defenders of the Constitution assemble to prepare for courtroom battle and firm owners gather to develop marketing strategies that will revolutionize the practice of criminal defense. Here's your host, the NCDWI guy, Jake Minnick.
Hello, fellow freedom fighters, and welcome to episode 236 of the NCDWI Guy podcast. On today's episode, we begin a four-part series on marketing. I love talking about marketing, and I am extremely blessed and excited about the group of guests that I have coming on to walk us through the next 4 weeks. On today's episode, you get to meet Uli Seuster, who I've recently met at the Freedom Fighter Summit. I had spoken with him for the first time a few weeks before the summit, and Uli decided to come and be a part of the summit. He spoke on our culture panel on day 2 of the summit and just added such tremendous value by being there to share his wisdom, both during the culture panel, but also in individual conversations with those in attendance. With over 17 years of entrepreneurial experience across diverse industries, Uli has mastered the art of building, scaling, and transforming businesses. As a seasoned business owner, he has successfully launched and grown companies from the ground up, driven substantial growth, and executed strategic acquisitions and sales. Uli is a man of numbers. He is an analytical person, and I love the way that he brings numbers to bear on business decisions. In today's episode, we discuss referral marketing, which is one of my passion topics, and Uli gives such great practical wisdom of how to become a better referral-based marketer, how to build referral connections, how to build up referral relationships. And it is just a blast getting to speak with Uli on today's episode. Uli will be hosting a free workshop in Charlotte 2 weeks from today on November the 20th. I am planning on being there with one of my partners, Lance, at this workshop. So would love to connect with you there, as well as take advantage of Uli's wisdom. It is an 8-hour workshop, 9 to 5, November the 20th. It's at the Rail Yard in South End, in Charlotte on November the 20th. And it's basically designed to give you a business plan, a written business plan for 2025. The name of the workshop is The Path to Profit, a business plan workshop for scalable growth. But it is about creating a clear roadmap on paper for your law firm in 2025. It's free. You're going to get to connect with other small law firm owners, and I am super excited about this workshop. If you want to register, you can go to go.howtomanageasmalllawfirm.com. So that's go.howtomanageasmalllawfirm.com/Uli, ULI BPWS. That's again, go.howtomanageasmalllawfirm.com/Uli, ULI BPWS. Would love to connect with you at the workshop and hope you enjoy the conversation with Uli the way that I did. Well, Uli, I'm pumped to have you on the podcast, because the last time that we saw one another, we were kind of desperately trying to get out of the madness of Asheville and Hurricane Helene. Obviously, we were not really in any real physical danger, but definitely was a pretty wild scene leaving the Freedom Fighter Summit. So appreciate you coming up on day 2 of the summit to share your wisdom on our culture panel and be a part of the conversation. And glad to have you on the podcast. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
I'm excited to be here. Glad to see you making it out of Asheville. in one piece.
Well, yeah, I mean, just to kind of dive right in. I mean, we're talking about one of my favorite aspects of marketing, which is kind of a referral based marketing plan. And I think that this can mean a lot of different things to someone when you talk about, like, what is your referral marketing strategy? Do you have a plan for referral marketing? I think for a lot of lawyers, it's overwhelming for to even think about, like, how would I build a referral based marketing plan. For other lawyers, it's like, that's where every single case is coming from, is from a referral. So I think it's one of those things that is everybody kind of knows about to some extent in the business world, is important. But in terms of like an actual path to building a law firm through referral relationships, I think that can be kind of an overwhelming prospect, especially for small firm owners, and I would say particularly newer lawyers, because I think you develop a network, whether you're trying to or not, almost organically the longer that you're in business. But for new firm owners, young attorneys, I think it can be particularly overwhelming. So just in terms of like a 1,000-foot view and some of the things that you've seen through, attorneys that you've coached, what have been some of like the, maybe even barriers of entry to a referral marketing path?
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me adjust my blinds because I see the sun is coming in. I don't have a perfect studio at
Oh,
home
you're
like you
you're
do.
you're
I
totally good.
apologize. Okay, well, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Referral marketing, I see with younger generations having this stench of old time practices. Referral marketing goes back decades and decades, has always been in place. But here are the cold and hard facts. If you rely on Google, you need to catch up with the ever-changing algorithm. They change it, about 13 times a day. Marketing agencies promise you that they know it all, can figure it all out. No, they also play catch up as well. Let's talk about social media sites. They come and go. There are some dominant leaders in the market, but the first leader was called MySpace, is no longer around. So the only part that really sticks is the relationships that we build um, in our private lives, in our work lives. And no, pay-per-click sounds so much sexier. I just put a few $1,000s out there, and the business comes into my door. I don't need to go anywhere. I don't need to speak with anyone. That is not true. I see a lot of small law firms spending a whole lot of money on pay-per-click, hoping for that to be the end all wear all, but it never works. And if it does work, it comes at a very, very high cost of acquisition. So that is my intro to referral based marketing. When the power goes out, as we had it in Nashville, you cannot use any technology anymore. You still have your referral partners to speak with. That's why this is so important. Yes, and how do we approach this? I think once again, the initial thought process may be going into the wrong direction. Which networking meeting do I go to? Who do I speak
Yes.
with? I think we all have a good foundation to start with, and we call that the list of four. Or let's start with the team 100. Write down a list of professions, chiropractors, manicurists, other attorneys, physicians, body shops, etc., that you are familiar with, who you trust. Take this list. There may be 10, 20, 30 names on them, and write down your trusted contacts and go to those very businesses and tell them, Jake, these are my referral sources. I don't have anyone to refer to in all these other categories that are listed on my list. If you don't mind, would you add them and then send this list back to me? In return, I'm going to give you an updated list of my referral sources every month. That way we help each other. It's a very simple concept. I talk to the people I know, and they appreciate that I think of them. They appreciate that I bear them in mind for future referrals. They feel honored that I ask them for their trusted referrals, and we all win by doing that. And once you give me your list of 45 referral sources, whatever it might be, of course, I need to reach out to them and say, listen, Joe, Jake gave me your name. I would love to spend 20 minutes with you on the phone to better understand how you serve your clients best. And they will appreciate that I reach out to them. I will have an opportunity to introduce myself. But at the end of the day, my goal is really to get a list of referral sources in place that I can use to help my clients. So giving is the first step of receiving.
Yeah, I love that. That's so powerful. I think yeah, I mean, in terms of even just thinking through that referral list, that can be in and of itself such a powerful exercise that is a practical way to step in. Because I think that most people just think, I don't know how to build a referral network. And again, to some extent, organically, you've already done that. Like if you were in law school, you have a referral network of classmates. If worked in a judge's office or at a small law firm before you stepped out on your own, you already have like some level of a referral network. And there's been, again, so many places where you would not expect to kind of maybe see referrals coming from. I'll give like two examples of this. My wife, up until about, I think it was probably right at about a year and a half ago, cut my hair for our entire marriage. So I always got a haircut from her. It was easy. She's, a free barber. So it's you can't beat free. And we always had good conversation too. So, good thing. But at some point she was like, Jake, I'm tired of doing this. Like, can you please like just go get a haircut like a normal human being, like just go pay $40 and get a haircut. That's just so I found a barber shop in Asheville and connected with a barber there, Chad, who's just great guy. But like barbers are to some extent like therapists. People will tell their hairdresser, their barber, all kinds of crazy things. You have like 25, 30 uninterrupted minutes where you get to kind of like, you either have a very awkward silence of 30 minutes where there's no exchange of information, or you have, like most normal people, like a pretty full conversation for a 30-minute period of time. And so just in the like short period of time that I've been going to Chad, like, he knows what I do professionally, and we've gotten several referrals from him, just like sharing with other people that come in and say, I got a speeding ticket, or, I got I'm trying to get my license back. And it's like, oh dude, like, you need to call Jake. And so, I think that, this just kind of like non-traditional place where you might think, well, where you wouldn't even maybe think of that as like a referral relationship, but there's just so many places it can arise out of. One other example is we had a close friend who about 2 years ago moved to Florida, but he ran a motorcycle shop in Asheville, and just a very sales personality driven guy. Like, I mean, just loving life, always having a good time, long conversations with people. And same thing with him. He would have people that would come into his shop, they're buying a car, they're talking about their motorcycle endorsement at some point, or what, in the conversation, it comes up, hey, I feel like motorcyclists are getting targeted by police, or whatever it might be. And so he'd be like, hey, you need to call Jake. And so I think, again, just being very open about where those relationships are. I think it's funny how often you can have a long relationship with another person and they not know what you do. Like you can have this, ongoing relationship with somebody at church, or with somebody, in your social network, friends. And it's like, oh man, I didn't know you handle traffic tickets. Like how could you not know that? I've been doing the same thing for 15 years. And yet it's like, well, if you don't talk about it, nobody knows that's what you do. So I love the idea of the list sharing, because first of all, like you said, giving is a great place to start, but also because it just requires you to kind of think through who are my like referral
Mhm.
contacts. And I think that you have a much bigger referral network than you imagine if you sit down and actually like put pen to paper.
Yes. And I think you're bringing up a good point. I mean, potential referral sources are practically everywhere you go.
Yes.
Be it the barber, be it the lady at the checkout of the grocery store, just to
Hmm.
use some very basic examples. But here's the key that I'm trying to communicate with my members all the time. Using the barber example, we, including myself, we're very tempted to tell the barber all about us. I'm the greatest advisor for small
Yep.
law firms. I've been doing this for years. I've had small business. Right? Please, Barbara, remember how great I am and refer business to me. And I'm not being mean or I don't try to be arrogant or selfish, but I have this urge to tell him all about me because he needs to know who I am so that I need so I will receive all his clients, right? But the opposite is true. If there is a barber, I need to ask this gentleman or lady I say, what can I help you with? They may be looking for a good pediatrician. They may be looking for a good mortgage broker. They may be looking for a car mechanic. They have all kinds of things going on in their lives that you and I have as well. And this is where our list of 100 kicks in. Is that I know somebody who does just that. I know I can help you with that. I know once I do that, once I see how much I care about them, once they see that I have the connection to help them, they don't need to know exactly what I do. They remember me. They remember how I made them feel. They will refer business to me. Of course, I need to get a basic idea of what I do and why and all that good stuff. But this is how we need to turn the referral based marketing around, that we need to be eager to help other people. Once you help other people, they will help you.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, Gary V is always talking about this, like the kind of give mentality. It's like, if you're
Mhm.
constantly looking at how you can, help others and not asking, kind of same thing in terms of it being
Mhm.
like me, it's like such a people want to help somebody that is looking out for them, and it's not even like a selfish I mean, I think it has to be genuine, almost like to your point. Like it can't be I'm going to give so that they will send business my way. Like that undermines the
Right?
whole process. It's got to be, from a genuine point of, if you're constantly looking for ways to help other people, whether it's from a personal standpoint, business, whatever it might be. I think generally speaking, that's somebody that other people, want to see succeed. And so again, I just think that that's such a beautiful way of looking at it, because the more that you give, the more value that you give, the more that
Mhm.
there is this like kind of just raising of that awareness on other people's radar. Like, this is somebody that I would love to see. If I have a friend that's in need, I'd like to see this good person over here,
Mhm.
having their back. Like, that's who I would like to see representing them in the courtroom. So yeah, I think that that's such a powerful mentality.
Yes. And the other step in our referral marketing that we tend to forget because we tend to be too busy is to follow up on our referrals that we give. We ought to call the barber, for instance. How did so and so work out for you? We ought to call the person we referred him to. Did you speak with him? How did it go? But best of all, if the opportunity presents itself, we ought to give our referral partner a warm handoff. So instead of just, giving the contact information of the whatever car mechanic I referred you to, which is, it's a hard example, but anyway, I should give the mechanic a call, introduce you to him while you're with me on that call, and have you initiate the conversation that way. That builds trust. That helps you, or helps me, pre-sell the referral partner that I have, based on my honest opinion and based on the needs as I know them from you. And it makes for a much easier conversation going forward.
Yeah, love that. I think that's super powerful. This may be connected, Uli, or it may be in a completely different direction. But in our email exchange back and forth, you had referenced a multi-million-dollar referral machine for lawyers. So that is like
Right.
one that obviously my antennas go up when
Yes.
I hear that tagline. I'm sure the other people that are listening in are like, "Wait, what?
Yeah.
What's the inside secret?" So, what is the referral machine?
The referral machine, basically everything that I talked about right now, will result in multi-million dollar referrals. But I'm going to give you a very specific example here in a minute. We also need to be aware of the fact that our multi-million dollar referral machine cannot be turned on overnight. It will take us a few months. It will take us a year probably until it all flows together. So the beginning will be slow. The beginning will be hard, but it's like an exponential system. You add a square to that equation every month, it ends up being a huge volume of business down the road. Now, how do we arrive at the multi-million dollar referral machine? By talking about this internally back and forth, and we even had a conference about it last weekend. We came up with a math example, because that's the easiest way to present the numbers. Why do I come up with 1 million? And I thought of you when we talked about that. Let's say you have the average case value, and bear with me for a moment, is an average case value of felony, was it $5,000? Is that a reasonable number?
Sure. Yeah,
Because it's round.
definitely.
Because it's round, it makes the math go very easy. So you go to one networking event, a real networking event, not just some socializer happy hour. You get 3 good referral contacts out of this one networking event. You only get, within a year, 1 referral from each of those 3 sources. That makes 3 potential clients. You close 2 clients of those 3, so you made $10,000, right? So 2 clients, average case value $10,000 with one networking event. Now you go to 100 of those, you have $1 million in marketing, in referrals, in business. That's the basic math. If you just go by one networking event, or you go to one barber and another, what's another good professional service? An esthetician for your wife, or a car mechanic who see people all the time. You just add up those numbers and they work out. Now, people may wonder, how can I ever go to 100 networking events a year? Well, this is only 2 a week. It's doable. But if you generate $1 million out of networking events, you might as well hire a $100,000 marketing manager to do the work for you. If they bring in $1 million in business, which pretty much means it's a 10% cost of acquisition, $500 for your $5,000 average case value, it pays off multifold. So this is just going by the numbers. If you put together your networking events or other referral sources, it doesn't have to be a specific networking event, and add them all up and do it consistently. And if all of those referral sources only give you 1 referral per year, you end up having the multi-million dollar referral machine. You need to be on it regularly. You can involve others. Nothing in our line of work or in line of work of attorney says that you have to do it yourself. You don't need any other advertising. You focus your time, your resources on that, and it is adding up every month. One referral adds to the next. So the first year you may end up having at the 100,000. Next year you will be at $1 million, and so forth. That is the basic concept of a multi-million-dollar referral machine.
Yeah, I love
I'm
that.
sure you and everybody else, expected a wonderful secret black box that I present to you. But it's the basic numbers, it's a basic routine, discipline. What you do is not easy, but it's simple.
Yeah,
And
I love that.
you need to do it regularly. And unfortunately, we don't have, an opportunity to go through spreadsheets, but I can do this, back and forth, up and down. This can be easily tracked as one of your key performance indicators every month.
I love that. And I love, it's funny because you took the words right out of my mouth there at the end. Simple versus easy. I think that we're always looking for this, you know, uh, secret. And then when, most of the time with any type of business advice that really works, it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, I understand that, but give me the real stuff. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, if you want to build a referral machine, you just got to go build referrals. Like that's really
Yes.
the whole deal. But I think, one thing that I would add on to that is, the math probably works out even if you were doing half that many events. And the reason
Yes.
why is, to me, it's like every client that walks in the door that you do a good job for in and of themselves becomes a referral machine for your business. So we've always kind of said that every client that walks in the door today is three tomorrow. Like that's kind of the thought process for us, is that every person that we, deliver a great experience for, regardless of what the outcome is, if like we are just focused on the experience and, kind of good client communication, good follow-up, we're working hard, we know the law and we're going to battle for the client in the courtroom, everything that we can do to make that client experience good. Again, outcome sometimes is out of our hands, but if we're focused on that client experience, then we kind of create a referral network just through doing the work that we do. So again, if you can go to 100 networking events in a year, do it. Like, go all in on that front. But I think from a numbers driven perspective, you're probably hitting that number at a significantly like smaller point in terms of that $1 million threshold in the example that we just gave, because of the fact that your clients become such a powerful networking group in and of themselves. One thing I kind of wanted to get your perspective on, in terms of, because I think this is one of the things that I definitely struggle with, and I think a lot of attorneys struggle with, is, in terms of, referral relationships. I think that part of it is, if you have a referral relationship, you want to have a relationship, and it's difficult to maintain a relationship with, again, just using the example we just talked about, three, contacts at 100 marketing events, 300 referral contacts. How can you, is it kind of quantity over quality of relationships? Like, how do you balance that, or what advice or problems do you see with clients that are kind of like, I'm trying to focus on a core group of 50, referral contacts, or going kind of more the shotgun approach of like, let's just go all over the place, or you start with the shotgun approach and then you see who you kind of build a connection with and then kind of build on that. What is your thought process on that from a kind of big picture perspective?
Yes, you touched on a very positively challenging subject, because at the end of the day, the limitation we all share is time,
Mm-hmm.
and not just that we're a professional service firm, and at the end of the day we bill for our time, no matter what the actual work product is, but it is our time. We have the same constraint when it comes to following up with our referral base. And what we suggest we do is, list if you're fortunate enough to have 20 really good professional referral sources who don't only give you clients on a regular basis, but give you quality clients. And with quality clients, I mean qualified leads, clients who you can really help, and not somebody who is looking for a whole different service that you don't provide. So you make a list of those, top 20, and you want to make sure that you contact them, be in touch with them, have lunch with them one way or the other, at least once every 3 months. This is the rule of thumb that I suggest. There are other cadences depending on whether you see him in court all the time, whether you see him on regular networking events all the time or not. But you ought to make the time to see them once every quarter. Now, in your firm, you've been highly successful for many, many years. There may be more than 20. And again, nobody says you have to do it all yourself. It could be your marketing assistant, marketing director, legal assistant to call them. Hey, Jake just asked me to reach out to you to make sure, you're doing well. Has anything changed in your life? Is there anything we can do for you? Have you moved? Your kids went to college, you got a dog, whatever it is, we need to be caring, but they will understand that you cannot do it all yourself, but you stay in touch with them that way. And when they have any specific matter that needs to be addressed, you hear about them through your marketing assistant. You can always call them back yourself. But you will want to stay in touch with them every quarter if you can. And no, you don't have to do it all yourself. And sometimes it's as easy, but there's a nice mix. Could be a phone call, lunch, coffee, whatever it is. But you may want to send out information material. And with information material, I mean, if you're into dogs, if you're into surfing, if you're into hiking, I may find an interesting article that I sent to you. One more thing that I suggest my members do, given the gigantic email boxes we all deal with, a note in the mail is actually pretty cool.
Oh, it's super cool. Yeah. I
mean,
right out just
that
to
sticks
that
out.
point, I'll just briefly interrupt. Like Ryan Stowe, who was one of the people that came, one of the attendees at the summit, brought several members of his team. But Ryan's just an awesome guy. And he has, I think, probably 3 or 4 times sent me a handwritten note. So he's scribbled down, note, on one of his note cards, thank you, Jake, for the summit. A lot of hard work, doesn't go unnoticed, Ryan. Like, I mean, it was very simple, but it was like such a meaningful thing to get. Like
Yes.
I didn't respond in kind. I texted him as soon as I got that and said, Ryan, you're a badass, man. Like, this is so cool that you took the time
Yeah.
to sit down and send this note. And he's done that multiple times now. So it wasn't like a one-off thing. There's been I think at least 3, if not 4 times in the last couple of years that he sent me a handwritten note. So I'm sure he's doing that with other
Yeah.
people. And in a world where it's all text, all email, social, messaging back and
Yeah.
forth, to get a handwritten note, it's almost like something you want to frame. You're like, this is
Yes.
like if somebody wrote me a letter. It's such a
and
cool
it and
thing.
it do- and it doesn't have to be a novel, just a
Yeah,
few
yeah,
lines. And
yeah.
again, you can have your assistant, stuff it in the envelope, put the stamp on it, whatever it is, but it's your handwritten note. And there's just one interesting anecdote. Arjun, the founder of How to Manage a Small Law Firm, told me over the weekend, whenever you're hanging out in a hotel for whatever reason, personal business reason, take the hotel letterhead, the notepad that they have in their rooms all the time. And they say, well, I'm here at the Gaylord in wherever, Orlando, and thinking of how about you? I hope the matter XYZ we talked about got resolved. Let me know if I can be of any further assistance. I mean, the hotel concierge may even mail it for you, put the stamp on it
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
But, what does that tell you when you get this letter on your desk and say, well, he was in the hotel, he thought of me. And the simple gestures
Oh,
like
it's
that,
such a
but as long as
huge,
we do them consistently, they go a long, long way.
yeah. I think the reason why that in particular is so powerful is because it cannot be mass produced. I think that with
Hmm.
email or text, there, even if you're writing an individual text to somebody or an individual message on social media, I think most people can kind of, just get the sense they're so bombarded with spam, so bombarded with so many messages that they're like, this could be a mass produced, text message of like check in, or
Mhm.
this could be, whenever you now get even a postcard from your dentist or your doctor that's like, happy birthday, Jake, like we're thinking of you. And you can tell that all of the signatures are printed. There's like, it's clearly not ink that's on this.
Yeah.
It's like, that was a waste of your
All right.
time. Like, why are
Yeah.
we doing, like, you're wasting
Yeah.
postage. You don't do it this way. But when you get it handwritten, it definitely is this like, it's got your name on it. Like it's clearly in ink. It's like, this is something that is not kind of mass producible. Like he really did, or she really did think about me. And so
Yeah.
I definitely think that that is such a huge boon in terms of like the uh, uh, kind of deposit in the bank, so to speak, relationship wise, because it's again like this was clearly like a very individualized, thought process. Is there anything else, like, because the handwritten note to me is like so powerful? Is there anything else that
Mhm.
you've seen with your members, attorneys, that they have done to try to kind of like personalize a kind of contact with referrals?
Yes, we call this, we have glide paths for our members. Glide path meaning how, from the first contact of a potential new client to signing the engagement, that's the pre-engagement glide path. We also have a post-engagement glide path. So whenever you're done with your matter, as I said, your
Mm.
clients are happy and will be your best referral source. But we will want to follow up with them as well, just as much as we follow up with our professional referral sources. The tools are the same. There's no magic tools. You have phone calls, mail, are most personal. Emails, they also play a role, but just don't rely on some email blast. They play a role, but don't just rely on some email blast. I read this somewhere. It's not from me. As an interested introvert is worth more than an interesting extrovert. As long as you show that you care, you will win. Now, while we're talking about referrals here and the situations within which we can gain or make referrals, and that it sounds really casual, and hopefully it happens casually every day, but the real art of that is not waiting on that casual
Mm.
moment. It does become marketing work. So what I make my members do is really carve out time on your schedule. Monday morning, whatever it is, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., marketing, following up with referral sources. If you don't have a fancy client relationship management system, you will have a spreadsheet, whatever it is. You need to maintain that every week. Set time aside, whether you like to do it that day or not. It doesn't matter. This is critically important, specifically when you're starting out as a small law firm. We call this the hustle market sell cycle. You're doing it all. You're marketeer, you're the attorney, you're your receptionist, you are everything. All the more important that you focus on those critical referrals, because you don't want to live the feast of famine lifestyle forever. This is where we come in and help you build a sustainable growth path. But in order to get started, this referral marketing is not just when the opportunity arises. We need to make the referral marketing happen. We need to initiate it, and we need to do it regularly, and it needs to be on our calendar, literally as a big time block on our calendar every week.
I love that. I think that that's hugely powerful advice, because I think for many people, referral marketing is this thing that, after you've been in practice for 10 years, that you can start to get referral cases and then hopefully like tune down your advertising. And it almost feels like referral marketing is the easy path. I am, kind of, putting all this money into pay-per-click or other advertising places. But in some sense, referral marketing, although it's also the most rewarding path, is the most expensive because it does demand that time. Like again, it's relationship based
Mhm.
marketing, and you have to pour in the time. And that's one thing that a lot of lawyers are running short on. So even though I think we all realize, I think most people realize referral cases are the best kind of cases. I think it's so much easier to some extent, even if you're paying, $3,000 a month or whatever it is for pay per click, or $500 a month for pay per click, whatever the budget is. It's easier to kind of outsource that, offload that onto a marketing agency and be like, the cases are coming in. Yes, they're expensive, but I don't have to think about it. Whereas the path that you just presented, again, it's like this is not just a haphazard marketing plan. It's very intentional and can be both time expensive and potentially, like, depending on how you're going about building these marketing relationships, could even be kind of like monetary expensive if you're, sending out gifts or books where, I mean, again, you don't have to do it that way, but there can be like an actual expense aspect of it that, could add up. So I think that is a really powerful statement in that I think so many of us really kind of think about referral marketing as this easy way of getting cases, and it's not. If you're doing it right, it's not uh easy. It's demanding, and has to be intentional, and is going to be something that you're putting on your schedule. Again, you can, as you just described, outsource that to some extent as well, but I think constantly like having that be top of mind in terms of where could we be
Mhm.
improving these relationships is so critical. So I love that because it takes away
Yeah.
this like haphazard thought process about referral marketing.
Yeah. I appreciate that you're bringing up the cost component. I believe there's another myth out there. Once you have a profitable, well-run law firm, you think, I don't have time for all the referral business, right? I want to spend $10,000 on whatever it is that I generate online. And guess what? I get 100 leads that way. How would I ever be possible to speak with 100 potential new clients,
Yeah.
right? But the fact of the matter is, what you get through the internet has maybe a lot of leads, but only whatever 10 stick with you out of the 100 they sign up because they really need your services at that time. And you happen to be the right choice for them. Wonderful. Whereas when I generate my referrals, I don't need to get 100. I need maybe 15 referrals, and I still get the same 10 out of it because my
Yeah.
referrals become pre-sold, they're pre-qualified. We already a match. We stand to sign up 2 out of 3. That's my rule of thumb from good referral sources. And now I challenge everyone, including yourself and all the other attorneys out there. If you want to keep track of your time, what you spend on your referrals, apply your billable hourly rate to that, and compare it with whatever you got going on the outside with online marketing, etc., whatever that be, and calculate your cost of acquisition
Mm.
for an actual client matter. I bet you that your time, if you convert it as cost of acquisition to actual client matters, is a much better investment than the thousands and thousands of dollars you spend pay per click or local search ads or whatever it is out there. That's usually a mathematical fact. Now, granted, I'm not saying don't advertise online. You need to expand your horizon. Yes, it it has a role to play in your marketing portfolio. Don't get me wrong, but don't ever assume that referral marketing is too time intensive or doesn't pay off. It always does.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that is such a powerful. Again, I think when you're trying to convince yourself that referral marketing or this particular initiative or endeavor is worth my time, you somewhat need to kind of get the why down right first in your
Mhm.
brain and I think that's why like the multi-million dollar referral machine is so powerful because it's kind of like now you're interested. It's like what is this? And it's like,
Mhm.
it's intentional relationship building. And it's like, well, that doesn't sound
Yes.
quite as sexy as, multi-million dollar referral
No.
marketing machine. But it's like, yeah, you need to have your brain wrapped around this idea that this is what worth me putting my energy and effort into. And I love like putting that, you know, I don't bill by the hour, and most other criminal defense lawyers that I've spoken with, most of them are doing like flat rate billing. But we all know what our billable hour is, or what like kind of the monetary time value is of an hour of time spent. And I think it's just so wild to kind of think about the time you're spending on your business in that framework, because it's clear that you're going to need some sort of uh, way of, again, just kind of not tricking your brain, but really convincing yourself this is worth the time that I'm putting in. So I love that. I love that
Mhm.
kind of, again,
Yeah.
mathematical thought process.
And don't be mistaken, you still have a billable hourly rate, even in
Right.
a flat fee
Right.
environment, even in a contingency environment. At the end of the day, you translate your time in, or you divide your revenue by your time, whatever it is. You still have, your time is valuable one way or the other. You need to put a dollar amount on it. Um,
Just one other
one of the
quick
first, yes,
Just one other quick thought process on that front as well, just for young lawyers, because I think young lawyers, I know I was this way fresh out of law school, think about the path to building a firm as kind of being advertising heavy, and then maybe later in career being, more referral driven as they're building up relationships. But advertising online generally does require money. Like you have to have some sort of budget going into that. And what you have generally when you start your law firm is zero budget and tons of time, and then it starts to flip flop. Like you've got way less time and a much bigger budget. So if you're going to spend, time on referral marketing, the best scenario to do that is when you have nothing else on your calendar. When you walk into the office and it's like, what do we got going on today? Absolutely nothing. There's nothing scheduled. So it can be disappointing, but if
yeah,
booked yourself for the 2 hours on Monday morning of referral marketing focus that you just talked about, like that's the absolute best amount of
yeah,
time to spend. And technically your billable hour, like your billable hour at that point is much lower because you don't have clients. So I mean, it's even cheaper
yeah,
thinking about it that way. So yeah, just wanted to throw that in there because I think
yeah.
I definitely used to think referral marketing is something that will come much further down the road.
Yes. And one of the first tools we usually suggest our members implement is a lead tracker. Lead
Mm.
tracker. So as part of your intake system, you got to make sure that you record how you got this lead. Many times, and specifically when you get successful as a single lawyer in your practice, you appreciate all the referrals that you get, but 6 months later, you don't even remember who gave you what
That's so
unless you
true.
record it because you're so busy.
That's so
I mean,
true.
it's not that you're not grateful, but you don't remember. And it's so critical to remember who gave us what lead so that we can go back to them and use this time block, the 2 hours on a Monday, whatever weekday it is, to say thank you. Send them a handwritten note. This is how we build, how we water our referral garden, so to speak. We need to maintain it regularly. So let's not get too busy to thank the referral source. Let's not get too busy to record and our leads to make sure that we learn from the good things and the bad things, because sometimes, we may have a lead who's sending us all the wrong things, and then we need to get back to this person because apparently this person didn't really understand what we're doing.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's such a good challenge. Again, just from a personal standpoint, we have gone through peaks and valleys of being really good about thank you follow up with referral
Hmm.
partners. And I would say currently we're in more of a valley time frame. It's there was a couple years back. Basically any time that we got a referral um, uh, case in, we had a specific team member assigned to following up with that referral partner, sending them a note, sending them a gift, and then basically it was kind of like whether they hired us or not. If somebody sent us a case, it was like, hey, we want to say thank you for thinking about us, and that person left the firm, and we didn't kind of refill that admin position, and so it's kind of been one of these things where we're still doing that on a haphazard basis, but it's
Hmm.
not systematized and intentional. So yeah, just from a personal standpoint, good call to action on our end.
Hmm. Yeah. And in order to getting things started, is maybe the hardest step of it all, because once you have the machine going, you just repeat and get better at it. So that's why I challenge everyone out there: if you don't have a systematic approach, just start with a list of four, as we call it. You have your top referrers, then maybe two, then maybe four, then maybe up to 20. They give you good leads on a regular basis. Then you have a farm team. Those are the people who know what you do, you know what they do, and they give you the occasional referral that didn't really pan out, so they don't really understand how to look for your ideal clients. Third list is who you know. Ask your employees, ask your spouse, write down who you know. Unless you document it, you don't realize who you know. Really, it's an interest. I did it a while back, and I realized that I know way more people in certain categories than I ever thought I did, because I never took the time to go through my digital Rolodex and really analyze who I know. And the last list, the fourth list, is just categories. Write down all kind of professional categories that you could possibly think of. Make sure you have one person that you vetted in each of those categories. I know that's not going to happen overnight. It may take you a long time, but that way you have those four lists that you work on consistently. And yeah, it's going to be the presence and the future of your business for a long time to come. No matter what kind of social media we're going to have next year, no matter what Google does to us next year, we can rely on our referrals.
Yeah, I think, even the power of kind of getting your team involved. I think one thing that is frustrating to attorney owners is, you have an associate or a paralegal, and it's like, man, I wish they would just, help me on the marketing side of things. I wish this person would bring in more cases, and yet it's kind of your responsibility as the owner to either A, incentivize that, or B, like help build into everybody's schedules time to make that happen. Because I think, in terms of those top referral partners, if you've got two people at the firm, you should have double the like referral list. If you have, four people at the firm, quadruple. Like you've just got this like multiplication of that list of 4 or 20 or 100. If you multiply that by the number of people at the firm, that just, exponentially allows you to grow in terms of referral relationships. But again, not only have you not built that time into your own schedule, but you haven't built in like kind of that referral path in to everybody else's schedule. And I think, not everybody wants to be a kind of person that's going to networking events or doing all these things. But if
Mhm.
everybody at the firm has this kind of group of 4 or 20, and you can somehow systematize that, whether it's assigning it to somebody in your own firm, or just kind of saying, hey, this is what we do together on Monday mornings. Again, that multiplication is so powerful. So yeah, that, I mean, I think for anybody that has a firm of more than one, even if that's just somebody answering phones, even if that's like a part-time marketing person at your office, don't waste that opportunity either.
Excellent, excellent point that you're making. You cannot grow unless you delegate tasks. And this is part of the delegation. The more people get involved, the better the policies and procedures need to be, the better the record keeping needs to be. And that is all doable by implementing the tools that we already have. Just need to put it in place, and you gotta be able to let go. Not everybody likes to let go of certain tasks, but if you want to become bigger than yourself, if you want your law firm to thrive, you need to pivot in a way that it's no longer Jack Minnick who is the recipient of the referrals, but it's Minnick Law Firm.
Right.
You
Exactly.
will need to market your corporate identity. And that then can be done by whoever you assign to do this.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I think in terms of kind of just maybe bringing the conversation to a close, Uli, if you could kind of
Mhm.
and it can be something that we've already talked about on the podcast, but if there was kind of one major practical point or takeaway or something that you could say, if you want to grow your law firm, here's like the number one place to focus on, number one thing to do, what would that kind of like top of the list priority be?
There are maybe three things. First of all, don't be shy. If you don't, you will need to approach other referral sources, introducing yourself, and be honest. I would like to have a referral partner in this line of business. The other side will appreciate that you reach out to them. Point one, it's a win-win situation. Second part is don't talk about yourself. Lead with a question. Usually use that question. What is an ideal client for you? So then I know exactly who to refer to you and who not to refer to you. And those are the two basic premises. Third part is do it consistently. And if it's just as simple as going next door to the business owner that's right next to your office, do it consistently, spend the time on it. It will pay off. Be patient, but it will pay off.
I think, yeah, that's again, simple but not easy. I think that those
Mhm.
things it's important to kind of like uh really nail down like a good starting point. I think that the shyness, even for somebody that has like an outgoing character, I think that sometimes we feel for whatever reason like, we shouldn't be asking for business or like, I don't want to inconvenience somebody else. And I think for the most part, people want to help other people. Like I think that
Mhm.
there is something about you are adding value to yourself by having these referral relationships, because now when my client comes to me and says, hey, I got injured in an accident. I'm like, well, I can't do that. But, my former partner, Lakota, this is all he does. Like, I mean, he wants to take cases to trial. Like he's going to, go absolute war for you. Here's the guy that you need. So my client now has taken away value from that relationship that I've built. So I
Yeah.
think that, people want to be able to provide that value or help others, even as just being like that referral source. So I think that that is just such a powerful, powerful aspect of that.
And maybe one last thing, don't keep score. If you start complaining that, oh, I gave him 10 referrals, he
Yes.
only gave me one. That's not how it works.
Yeah,
Just don't keep
100%.
score. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, 100%. I think that, again, the, even just going back to that like last example of like sending a case to another PI lawyer. Again, if you built up like a good
Mhm.
referral relationship of other professionals that do a good job, and this is where it comes back to being genuine. Like if your car mechanic sucks, you need to get a new car mechanic and then recommend that dude. Because if you're
Right.
recommending bad people, then that's going to come back
Yeah.
on you as a negative on your own reputation. But if you're referring people to others that do good work, then you've got such a massive boost in terms of, again, that client trusting you. And again, recommending to somebody else, hey, Jake made a great, recommendation. I don't even know if he can help you with this, but maybe he can find somebody that can. So I think, part of it is it's almost like you we have at our office for other lawyers like a referral map across the state of different places, different practice areas.
Mhm.
When somebody calls in, we can't help them. We want to be able to send them to an individual. And if we can't
Mhm.
do that, then we send them to basically Avo's lawyer directory. And I hate
Right.
sending people to Avo's lawyer directory because there's
Yeah.
no value in that. I'm not sure that they're going to get a good person helping them. And then from our perspective, it's like there's nobody that's aware that we sent them that direction. So I always say, like, do everything you can. If you need to go like digging online to try to find somebody, like, let's try to actually give like a individual person to contact about this issue, if at all possible. Clients that call in with ridiculous scenarios that I don't want to send to anybody, then we send them to Avo. That's the
There you
but
go.
but the goal is to get them into the hands of somebody that's going to
Yeah,
do a good job for them.
absolutely. That won't forget you.
Well, Uli, it's been a blast talking. I'm so grateful again for you coming and sharing at the Freedom Fighter Summit. Very grateful for you sharing your wisdom on the podcast today, and look forward to continuing the conversation again. Actually, just before we get off here, again, I said in the intro that you've got a seminar coming up on November the 20th. If you want to just share a little bit about kind of what the plan is for your seminar.
Yes, I appreciate it. Real quick, this is a 1 day business planning workshop. So if you feel overwhelmed, if you don't know what to do next, what is the next step in your growth? Why don't you seem to be moving the needle in your business? This is the place to go. All day workshop. You will walk out of that 1 day business planning workshop with a sketch of your business plan. You will bring home some actionable items that you can put in place to make 2025 a much better year than what you may have had in the past. So that's on November the 20th, business plan workshop in Charlotte, location to be determined. It is for free, but registration required. Just email me.
Love it. And I am going to do my best to be there. So if you're
Okay.
listening in, come spend time with me and Uli. So looking
Okay.
forward to it, Uli. I appreciate it again. I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. You do the same.